The latest quest in Genshin Impact had a lot of stuff to unpack. To be honest with you guys, this is probably the most lore-breaking quest we've gotten so far. If you guys were there, you know I reacted and completed all the quest and acts on screen, and we even saw a badass cutscene during Act 2. After Act 3, I also stuck around the stream for around 3 hours discussing lots of possibilities. Today, I'm going to share my thoughts and speculation on this latest series of Genshin. So I'm just going to say, buckle up and hold on tight, because this is going to be a wild ride. Just to let you know as well, this is all pretty much random thoughts and merely speculation. This is kind of a theory and kind of speculation. I don't really know what to categorize it as, but you guys will see by the title. These are just random thoughts I compiled together. Also, there will be spoilers for the entirety of the quest, so you've been warned. I think it's pretty obvious there are spoilers though. But first, before we begin though, if you enjoy Teyvat's Facts and Wisdom, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. After the video is over, join us over in our community Discord server, where we talk all about Genshin, including lore. We're also going to be streaming on YouTube Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. PST. But anywho, with that said, let's open the Teyvattionary and see what's been uncovered. So, I'm not going to waste your time and explain the entire event. I will say though, it was adorable to get some fantastic character building we have with Bennett, Albedo, Eula, and Amber, as I just want to cut straight into the lore. Before we begin, this is your last warning if you haven't completed the event. With that said, let's dive right into the meat and potatoes. Essentially, the biggest piece of information that is revealed to us is that Gold the Alchemist is Rhine's daughter, which makes him and Durin brothers in a sense. With that, we also learn that Gold was involved with the primordial human project, with creating synthetic human beings. Gold had apparently created a variety of other synthetic humans, including Albedo. With that bombshell of information revealed to us, we learn of multiple synthetic humans, most notably Subject 1, 2, and 3. Subject 1 being Albedo, or the near-perfect experiment. Subject 2 was swallowed by Durin and somehow got resurrected by his power. And Subject 3, which was created by Subject 2 with the properties of a special Whopperflower boss, and pretty much tried to kill Albedo and all of his friends. With these subjects in mind, we are taken on a wild goose chase, and we start to wonder which Albedo is which because of all the subjects looking just like him. Or so we think. Turns out that there's something peculiar about Albedo's neck, a golden diamond, which I will get into in just a bit. The second and third subjects didn't have that symbol, however, and decided to attack the group in different instances. The Traveler and Eula, as seasoned adventurers, sensed something was wrong, and they caught on to this and were able to figure it out. That's pretty much the main summary of what happens. And one of the questions that immediately comes to mind is, why did Gold create synthetic humans in the first place? Upon discussing this with my chat, we came to multiple angles, but the one that really stood out to me was definitely the aspect of trying to create a traveler. A traveler, from what we know, is different in the sense of not being connected to Teyvat. The travelers or outlanders' jobs are to find the knowledge of this world. The idea that the travelers purify elemental energy could be the reason for this, and just because of the fact being outside of Teyvat's principles makes them fundamentally different. We also see the traveler purify Dvalin's tears, and in a sense purify Sudumi Island's leyline too. I don't really know how that worked, but it looked like some sort of purification. From this though, to fully purify leylines, I think both travelers have to be together, because they are the magnum opus, thus being able to create a new world seed or restoring Teyvat to what it used to be. From what we know about the MC sibling, they learned the knowledge of this world, and Gold also wanted to be able to grasp that knowledge. Using the knowledge she had of alchemy and the power of Irminsul trees, Gold tried to create a human, and her best attempt at doing that was through Albedo. But Albedo says himself that he is flawed, and thus he also has a vision. Since he has a vision, Celestia has surveillance on him. Why would Gold try and make a traveler though? I think it's because the MC Traveler at the time was asleep, and the sibling Traveler needed to work together with her in order to save the world from Celestia. The two Travelers make up a huge piece in alchemy, and thus are huge keys. Before the creation of Albedo, there were multiple failed experiments, until Albedo was the last one. She left Albedo her legacy and stated she left him to figure out the secrets of the world. This is stated in the Cinnabar Spindles lore. I think that the Travelers are the magnum opus in alchemy, and that the Genesis Pearl is the world's seed. Gold was attempting to recreate the old world and the times of Salvin Dagnir. I think the survivors of this civilization congregated over to Khaenri'ah, and creating synthetic travelers may have been her way of purifying the ley lines. In regards to the old world of Salvin Dagnir, imagine Dragonspine as a very lush place filled with greenery. With the proper ley line flow, I believe it stayed green. However, that greenery turned into the frozen paradise we see today due to the Skyfrost nail being dropped, and potentially breaking the ley line flow, thus turning it back to the way it was originally before life was established in Teyvat. From what we know about Old Teyvat, it was seen as a frozen wasteland. Also, a fun little tidbit is that Dragonspine could be a reference to this German mountain, which I can't pronounce. It is also very lush and green. But after the Skyfrost nail, it looks something like this, which is actually a part of how this German mountain looks when there is snow on it. Thank you so much, Arya, for pointing this out. What's wrong with Albedo and the other synthetic humans, though? Well, I would say it was because she performed the steps in the wrong order, and thus that's why these creations are flawed. Let's break it down though. We have gold, chalk, and soil. What's really interesting is the lore and the festering desire. Unborn life, unfulfilled wishes, tragic dreams at the edge of the universal darkness that could never come true. Indwell my body and descend unto this world. Indwell my body. Rhindaughter's name is also gold. Gold is a key ingredient in alchemy, and I think that Albedo and his other brethren have gold inside of them. That is what she refers to as indwell my body and descend unto this world. What's also really peculiar is Albedo's vision being Geo, and everything in his arsenal being a goldish color. Gold passed Albedo everything she knew, so legit, Albedo could just be gold, but if she had a vision. That also explains the golden flower we see with his elemental attacks, which I will dive into a bit later. Albedo, being a stage of alchemy, is the stage in which I believe Rhindaughter left off on before she gave up her endeavor. Chalk pursues gold, and the aspect of soil is the fundamental of creating new life. This can explain why Subject 2 has the ability to create other synthetic humans. There's also the fact that Subject 2 was swallowed by Durin, and I think as a result of that, Subject 2 possesses Durin's will to continue his mother's legacy, and also inherited his powers. Subject 2 also goes on to steal Albedo's alchemy notes, and as stated by Albedo, he believes Subject 2 is jealous of him because he was viewed as the perfect one. The garden analogies that we've seen throughout the new quest also heavily point to that in regards to perfecting Rhindaughter's experiments. During the last part of Albedo's story quest, there is a very intriguing piece of information to back up that he and the Traveler are also very similar. I made a point throughout of telling them how ordinary the results were. But what was that sediment I saw forming at the bottom of the vial? It should not have been there. What could it mean? Those born of earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free of impurities. You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. This line here is very interesting. I don't know what to think of it, but to me it was a piece of text worth mentioning, and I think in some ways it links Albedo and the Traveler together. Now, I want to link gardening again and how we can connect the flowers Dainsleif mentions. Albedo, during his first story quest, brings a flower to life, and it strongly resembles a white flower. Dain, as we know, was from Khaenri'ah, and he has a mission of some sort against the Abyss, or what I call Celestia. If you look at it carefully, it almost seems like some sort of revenge mission. And he has the quote of, "My memory has all but faded completely, but I will always remember how much she too loved these flowers." All Gold wanted to do was to create the old world again, and creating synthetic travelers was the way to do it in her eyes. Cecilia Garden, the domain in Mondstadt, could be a reference to the gardening that is referred to in the latest event. Cecilia Garden quotes, "The Cecilia flowers that only grow on high cliffs once bloomed in the greenhouses here. The ancient civilization that once enjoyed the scent of the Cecilia was lost. And so too was the Sea of White Flowers." This right here is what tells me that Dainsleif's revenge mission is in regards to Gold. With the flower Albedo creates, including the one in his elemental skill, and the gardening references made in this past event, it points heavily that Gold may have been some sort of lover. To link it even further, Dainsleif also has those diamonds in his eyes that we see around Albedo's neck. Am I saying Dain is a synthetic human too? I am not sure, but the connection to Gold I think is there between Dain and Albedo. Dain also states about Albedo, "I am content to watch most crises play out from the sidelines. But if Albedo were to ever make a single wrong move, I could not let myself ignore it." I don't think Dain wants to do this. As to what happened to Gold currently, we have no idea. I will say though, we will learn more in due time. Lastly, let's get into what happened with Khaenri'ah. Dain is specifically upset at the fact that the Divine had an impact on the destruction of his homeland kingdom of Khaenri'ah. Gold, as we know, was the one responsible for Khaenri'ah according to the lore so far. But as you guys know, I believe the Night Mother is the one actually responsible. And I think because of Gold's desire for more knowledge and obviously creating life, a heavenly principle that is seemingly very forbidden, the Night Mother, or the Sustainer, punished Gold and thus corrupted her creations and turned the people of Khaenri'ah into monsters. How is the Night Mother a part of Celestia and connected to the Abyss, you may ask? I have a theory in regards to Celestia's biggest secret, and that should shed some light onto that theory. However, I can't connect proper evidence. It's just in my gut, and for right now, I'm going to go with it. To back up the idea that Gold was corrupted, let's take a look at the blood-stained artifacts lore. The ancient kingdom was wrongfully cursed, turning its inhabitants into monsters. The code of chivalry tolerates not such injustice. "If Abyss be thy name, I pledge to you my loyalty." From this alone, and in the lore, in the Pale Princess and the Six Pygmies, though it's not all out yet, and it'd be spoilers if I mentioned anything more, to me, this pretty much sums it up. Well, that pretty much wraps up my little theory / speculation about Gold's mission and what Albedo's origin is. What did you guys think? This was some pretty freaking crazy lore, if I do say so myself. And trust me, I know there's some stuff about Gold that I could have mentioned, especially more in regards to alchemy. But I usually like to keep my vids at least 10 minutes long, so in the future, I can guarantee I will dive into alchemy itself and possibly have someone on board with that. Am I promising a collab? I don't know. We'll see. Anywho though, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks for opening the Teyvattionary, and with that said, I will see you in the future for more Genshin Impact content and lore.